Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm gonna talk about my tarot year card. Again, every year we get a new year card. We calculate our date of birth, actually the day and the month, with the year that we currently have. So it's all numerological. And very interesting stuff because it doesn't only tell us about what type of year we are going to have, what type of year we are going to get into as a type of reading for the future. It actually also works on a different level, I feel. It kind of prepares us mentally what we can focus on, actually. Last year I had my Chariot year. It was amazing. I had a half point throughout the year where I just switched everything, and it was a big shock. I was sick for a whole month. My summer wasn't that much fun, but I prepared to do something quite incredible that I actually didn't think I had in me. But here I am, and it's all working really well. According to my calculations, the way that I do it, I am going into my Justice year card. Now, little disclaimer before I start, my first tarot system was the Rider-Waite-Smith, and so 8 there would be Strength, which is also my life path card or my life path number. But I'm at the same time a Libra, or that's my sun sign, however you formulate that. And I've decided to stick to, I guess, the pre-Rider-Waite-Smith system of having number 8 as the card of justice. That was a mouthful. Now let's get into the whole thing. Last year, my Chariot year, I made a whole video about it. I will link it, where you actually see me sitting in a type of chariot holding these cards from my main decks or my main systems, you could say. And yeah, being driven through Amsterdam in summer. So that's a fun video. And in there, I explain a little bit more of all the things that happened last year that I really didn't expect to happen, but they did, and I worked really hard, and I took everything that I could out of that Chariot energy. And now we are at Atu 8, Major Arcanum number 8, Adjustment or Justice. So, I have other decks as well right here, but let's start with Thoth because it's very clear in this one. Since the Justice card here is called Adjustment, it's almost as if after a roller coaster of a year, the Chariot year, the dust kind of settles now with the Adjustment card. It's as if we've done all the work and pushed, driven this chariot all the way to the top of the mountain where we want it to go, obviously. And then now, after all of that hard work, the hard work isn't over, but the dust kind of settles because I guess we get settled in the Adjustment card. It's not like we sit down and are in a stable place. Actually, no, because here we see Ma'at definitely balancing on the tip of her blade with her tippy toes. It definitely means that we are still always trying to find our balance, but it's not as much of a shock and pure brute power almost as it was in the Chariot card. The Chariot year for me had a lot of shock value, and all of that negative stuff. I turned around, I was done with it, I made a radical decision. It influenced me a lot. That's what I'm saying. That's why I think working with year cards can be so good. Because even if you don't resonate with the card or see why you got this card for this entire year, even maybe looking back, does mean it could be a little bit too late, but looking forward, knowing now I have the Adjustment card for 2023, it means that I can adjust my plans or tailor my plans to this energy. And it means that the whole year has a type of chapter feeling. And that's why it's so good, because it allows me to really focus and concentrate on the things that I want to do this year. And this is an indication on how to do it. So yeah, the dust definitely settled, less shock value this year, although you never know, but it feels like I have accomplished something. Personal opinion and probably unpopular opinion, but I always saw, especially in the minor cards and especially in the tarot system. So let me show you. The best one is the Eight of Pentacles, I'd say. Eight of Coins. Here you go. I always found that in the minors of the tarot, especially the Marseille type systems, the eight looks like a type of fulfillment. It looks like the natural end of a suit. Why? Eight is the most perfect number. It doesn't need any energy or influence from the outside to keep moving within itself. This, of course, does come with a caveat, which means we get stuck in this so-called perfection. At a certain point, you want to break out of it. That's when you get to the 9 and then to the 10, of course. 10 still being my favorite number, so I'm good with 10 being the minor sequence in the in the tarot, or at least in the minor arcana. But just look at this card, just pure what it looks like. All of the coins are the same size, and the card is filled to the brim. There's no more room for anything else. Whereas, if we were to look at the 9 and the 10, it looks like less of an end, almost. I love this 9 of coins. It's just so luxurious. Patrick did that so well. I don't know if you guys see what I mean. I don't know if I'm making this clear at all. Maybe also it's more of a feeling than something I can actually prove. But here we have the 10 of coins. And just look at how much space there is. There's room for a whole other coin right there in the middle. Which, of course, probably has some type of meaning as well. Not probably, it does. Everything in the tarot has meaning. You just have to learn to see, as Jodorowsky says. Although I'm paraphrasing yet again, but this looks like more of a finished feel. It's more of an ending than this. Probably deliberate, because 10 is not an ending, it's a new beginning. Yeah, maybe that's true, just thinking out loud at this point, but maybe that's true. Maybe the 8 is supposed to look like an ending. Maybe it's deliberate that the 8 in the older decks, the Marseille decks, look like they're done. And then there's surprise, we still have 9. You want to break out of this perfection. And even more of a surprise, 9 is not the end, it's 10. And yet, actually 9 is the end and 10 is the end and a new beginning. But you know what I mean. Very long ramble, just to say, this card definitely feels like a type of, I reached a goal and now it is time to make it my own. Now it's time for me to fulfill the role I actually took on to myself last year, here in a type of almost rescue mode, to not lose everything I've been working for all these years, but to actually, in an attempt to save it, bring it to the next level. And here I am trying to balance all of this. Something just crossed my mind, and I forgot to say this in the video, so I'm adding this in. 7, the year 7, was about achieving what I wanted to achieve. We get that. Now, 8 is just about making that achievement better. First, it's about getting there, and then it's about making it better. Think of a very clear example. Think about the 7 and 8 of Pentacles. Yet again, the Pentacles. Somehow that's my suit today. 7 of Pentacles, it's about harvesting, and then the 8 is about what you do and what you want to do to make that harvest into the next thing, into the next stage of the process. It's not enough to just get there. You actually have to transform it yourself and make something better out of it. That is my main focal point. Okay, back to the rest. So, obviously, the year of justice. Here we have the Justice card in the Ritual Tarot. Absolutely gorgeous. Also, I love the amount of red in this card. I always see Justice as more of a cold card, which, as a feeling, I know you must understand, but here we have a very warm palette, and I don't know, I loved that. It's first thing I saw, first thing I noticed about this card. So, obviously, Justice, year of balance, year of truth, year of adjustment. And again, because it's my life path card or number, and I'm a Libra, this is a Libra gal, it's the year that is mine. Again, another sign, actually. There's no other word for it, I think. Yeah, another sign or proof, maybe, that I am supposed to really fulfill this role. And it's starting to dawn on me that this role is much more important, asks a lot more from me on different levels, different aspects than I could have ever, I don't know, imagined, I guess. Yes, definitely. Being in the year that is your card means this year is yours. I feel that this year is mine. Okay, so at this point, I know you realize I am just going to assume that you know what I'm talking about, but a quick recap for those who have not seen the Chariot video. I'm not just a tarot reader as a profession, I'm also a dance teacher and an ex-professional dancer. Now, I am not just a dance teacher since last year. I also now have my own classes. So you could say I have my own dance studio. And that is a big part of the roller coaster that happened last year. And it got ugly at some point, so I don't want to give away too much of that stuff, and I don't think it's going to be beneficial to, what I'm trying to convey in this video anyway, but just so you know, it really was quite a year. And actually that low point in the middle of the year, then coming out of it and making it even better than it ever was, made 2022 into the Chariot year. Before that point, I don't really feel I fully got into the Chariot narrative. This is the Chariot from the Triomphe de la Luna, purple one. And in case you don't know, Patrick bases all of his tarot cards, I believe all of them, on historic decks. And here I have the Van der Borre Bacchus Tarot, or the Flemish Tarot. And look at that. Very similar composition. So I'd say these types of Marseille decks have influenced this card. So let's go back to the whole cold thing. I don't feel the balance year or adjustment year or justice year necessarily needs to be cold. Looking at it practically, I will have to do a lot of this type of work that is just part of the job that you don't want to do, because of course, like, I kind of hate saying it this way, but I am an artist. Dancers are artists, right? This is why we chose an artistic profession. And even tarot reading, it's a craft, but it's kind of artistic, you have to think outside the box and stuff. But in order to make all of that work the way that I envision it, or the way that actually it's starting to form in front of me, because it's actually working. What the hell? And it's going so well, so I can kind of like stretch the boundaries. Is that how you say it? And I'm loving it. And so in order to keep that going and make that even stronger, yes, I will have to be more of a businesswoman almost. And you won't notice that. I'll take care to not bore you with that, but it's true, it's just part of it, I have to make my own rules, make my own decisions, really live up to other people's expectations as well. And in order to do that, I have to put myself in that role of the one who takes care of everything and the one who controls everything, who has control over everything. Because everything needs to be organized. It needs to be organized so well, so much better than before, than ever before. Parents are putting their children in my care, and I care deeply for all of them. And so I also have to do a good job at this organizing thing, the managing everything. So far, I'm doing pretty good. But there has to be a system, and I definitely see that in the justice card. The balancing, the balancing act, of course, work, life, etc., but I don't want to get into that. We've all heard that before, I have a feeling. So work-life balance, even though I don't love that term, but yes, it's part of it. Anyway, the balancing of really being organized and really managing everything well, knowing what is going on, knowing what people's needs are, etc. Making sure that all the boring stuff that happens behind the scene also actually happens and happens well, is done well. So, yeah, all of this responsibility rests on me, is in my hands. Yes. So I see that in the balance, but also, of course, in the sword, because it's about making decisions, being clear, being client friendly, but also knowing this is how I do it, deal with it, kind of thing. But of course, in a very nice, hopefully friendly way, of course. Want to keep people happy. This is the justice card, La Justice, from the Van der Borre. It looks like she has wings here, which is kind of fun. And she's looking very relaxed. Look at that gaze. Just almost looking like, I got this, you got this. And you know what? I kind of think I do. So who knows what's going to happen this year? All I know is the crazy dust has settled, and now I also have to like wrap my mind fully around the consequences of what I've done. And I mean that in a kind of a funny way, but kind of like making this career change, it means I have much more responsibility and different responsibilities, and also new for me responsibilities. The thing is, what I'm trying to explain in a very inconcise way, I feel, is I have been doing all of those things quite successfully, if I may say so myself, so far, but I haven't wrapped my mind around that I'm actually also doing it. I now actually am an owner of a dance school. I'm more than just a dance teacher. You know? Like, teaching dance was never about only learning dance steps, right? Only teaching dance steps to kids. It was always more than that. In a sense, you become their friend, you become their coach. You try to motivate them, you try to make them more free. And it's just such a wonderful thing to see these young people become the person who they were meant to be. Not trying to credit too much to my role that I might have in their development, but it's fair to say that in most of those cases, as a dance teacher, you become really close to those kids. And so you do have played a role in them becoming the wonderful people that they are. Mm. Sappy? Yes, definitely sappy, but it's just true, okay? So I'm leaving it in. And so this whole, to me, big, important figure I recognize in Lady Justice, I now have to accept that I am. Really be empowered by that, take on the role, and I don't know what else to say, just actually fulfill that role. I'm very passionate about it, and I'm very glad that last year I got so much passion and power out of the Chariot card, because it really did allow me to power through. It really did allow me to just go for it and don't hesitate. You already know what you're going to do, which way you're going to go, why. The why is very important. I already knew my why, and I already had some kind of a vision. Yeah, it was just so good to have this energy as this talisman, actually, as a type of token that is telling me how to handle these things. The last thing that might be coming up is, I always saw the Justice card as a karma card as well. Now we can interpret that in different ways, right? But I definitely had to break free from some chains and just evil people, honestly. Now, when there are two parties against one another fighting, I don't think in black and white, okay? There's different sides to the same coin. And I think in any type of conflict situation, usually that means every party, both of them, has wrong and right. This kind of brings me to, maybe this is going to be very vague, sorry about that, but this kind of brings me to a topic that's kind of roaming around in my brain at the moment or lately. Baneful magic. Yeah, just some stuff about that. And since it's something very magical and very personal, I'm opening up about that on Patreon, so my patrons will know. I consider 8 the perfect number. I already explained why that is. It's not an end, although it feels like this is where I am and who I am. I've reached it. I'm done. This is where I was supposed to be all this time. Who knew? Now the trick is to actually make it so within myself as well. Because yeah, I've been doing all the things, but now it's all about embracing it. And that is what I'm gonna do, guys. It's gonna be a year filled with joy and fun and interesting things, new things, exciting things. That's the plan and expectation also. Yeah, I think the Justice card is about stepping into one's power, or there's a sense where you can interpret it in this way when it comes to calculating your year card and getting the most out of it. Adjust to the situation, really make it yours, have fun with it. Hopefully, it will be less of a shock and clouds of dust than last year, compared to last year, when it was all about the chariot and going and moving, and more about stepping into that power. Okay, this was it. Hopefully it wasn't too long. I'll do my best in the editing phase of making videos. I want to say thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I want you to know that. And I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into moving from the Chariot year to the Adjustment card year. Yeah, let me know, what is your year card? If you don't know how to calculate that, I will put it maybe in the screen or in the description box if I don't forget. If I do forget, feel free to ask me. Anyway, let me know what it is and if you feel you are getting the most out of this, because there's just so much to unpack here. And I want to add this. I know I have expressed my uncertainties, I guess, about astrology in the past, but I think that an astrologer would actually, who works with tarot cards, would actually get even more out of this exercise, because this is a very timely thing, you know, your year card. So what type of year is this in the stars? I actually do find these things interesting. It's just I don't use astrology in my readings, or not that much, as you've heard. But if you actually do know about astrology and like to combine that with tarot, please let everybody know in the comment section what you could add to this conversation. There's already so much that you can get out of just tarot, but maybe combining it with, you know what I'm talking about, like this timely thing that is astrology. It goes in cycles, and there's so much to learn from cycles anyway. All I want to say is I want to know about it. I want to hear about it. So feel free to let everybody know. This was it. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week. Much love.